All right, back by absolutely zero demand. It is top and bottom talk. This is another solo pod, so we're gonna go. I was doing, I shouldn't say was doing. We're doing my top 100 favorite albums. We already went through 100 through 91. This is gonna be 90 through 81. So get comfy. No, it's we'll see. I'm gonna try to make this one quicker. No huge intros. Just gonna share a couple stories if I have them. Describe the album as best I can. Maybe some little trivia that you will not ever be able to use in your life. And just share a little bit about what I like about each album. So if you have any questions, please ask them now. No? Okay. Well, looks like it's still just me. Then I say we kick it off. Number 90. This one you're going to have to get out your Encyclopedia Britannica. And I am dating myself. So anyway, this is one. I'll just give you the info and then we'll talk about it. So the name of the band is Los Halos. The album is called For Ramona. And my favorite song on the album is called Morning of the Sun. It keeps getting more and more interesting. I am going to add a new twist. I'm going to give you also what I think would be a great activity for listening to the album. So, if somebody wants to go out and listen to it, and like, what should I do? Should I, tread water? Should I don't know, play a baseball game? I mean, you can just do kind of whatever you want, I guess. But I'm going to give you, and this is an interesting one to start with, but my activity, so what you could do while listening to this album is get addicted to heroin. Because I'm telling you, this is a bit of a downer. This one, so I discovered this band or song or album on Pandora a long time ago. And actually, before I start there, let's give a couple deets about the album, some facts. So it came out in 2002, 10 wonderful songs, 51 minutes. Got some long ones in there. If you want to know, this is one that most people don't know about. So the most popular song on here has 11,942 plays on Spotify. Not a lot. Most of them, all the others are right around 1,000 to 2,000. And we've got second place, looks like at 4,800. So not a hugely popular album. But one that's like, it's just kind of stuck with me. So I remember I found out about them listening to, Pandora. This is before Spotify and really anything. It was kind of, the internet was still pretty new, and Pandora would just recommend things. I remember like plugging in, Radiohead, Pearl Jam, Rage Against the Machine, whatever I was putting in there at that time. You would plug it in and then it would just kind of start recommending things. I think that's still around. I do know at least one person that still listens to Pandora. I think either just workouts or in general. Weird with all the other options that we have now. But it's a thing. It's apparently still kicking around. So I remember discovering this band and it was really exciting. It was just kind of one of those, like, turned my head up. I'm like, or maybe turn my ear up. They're very mysterious sounding. And then if you end up trying to find out more about them, they're even more mysterious. So I remember could not find an album anywhere in stores. This is definitely one that I had to download. And even then, it was not easy. I think those were the days where, you had to wait for somebody to be available that had it online, and then you could try to download it from them illegally. But if they got offline, then you lost it. So I think this one took me a little while. But it's just they're really whispery, trying to describe their sound. They're just really low key for the most part. They've got a couple songs that, I know there's one, I don't think it's this album, where he's just yelling a lot. But he has it's kind of got like a little twangy sound to it. Very low key, lo-fi, hushed tones. definitely like has a whispery, when he sings, he kind of whispers. In the movies where everyone talks in that, what's in the box? He kind of has, well, it doesn't sound like that, but it's, I don't know, just a really mysterious, I had no idea. I don't think I've ever really looked them up, but just a really mysterious band. They're so good. For whatever reason, they never really took off. The guy has kind of like a broken voice. I don't know if any of this sounds appealing to anyone, but for me, it was like catnip. It was just like, ooh, mysterious, off the grid, kind of a singer-songwriter vibe. This song "Morning of the Sun" has a really good beat to it, but just kind of they're talking about heaven. They're talking about the color of somebody's hair. Like, it's kind of guy's probably a little obsessed with somebody. I don't know if it's a painting that the artist drew or where it came from, but it's just like not a great picture, but it looks like something that maybe I could pull off if I wanted to. But yeah, just a really good, if you want to just get into an album that most likely no one's heard of, great place to start. Number 89 is Cursive. Band is Cursive, album is Cursive's Domestica. Favorite song on it is called The Casualty. And then this is the divorce album of all divorce albums. My goodness. It basically seems like it chronicles a divorce. I did see this band live, I think almost twice. Once either at Coachella or I tried to at Coachella. And then I also saw them with my friend Lindsay. I don't know when, but I think they were, I should have looked up. I think they were pushing the Art is Hard album at that time. But the singer is surprisingly, like, this is kind of a punk band. It's a punk band, like a really smart punk band, which apparently is how I've described Minor Threat as well. But, like, the songs, they're almost, I think they've maybe even been classified as emo occasionally, but I wouldn't put them there. This one, the lyrics are really illustrative. So, example of one lyric that it stands out, just the way that they, it's actually really smart how they use this lyric, but the lyric is, and there's still a hole where the phone was thrown. Just the kind of stuff that gives you goosebumps, they're really just illustrative, right? So they paint a really good picture. One of the songs, The Night I Lost the Will to Fight, is a great one. The Game of Who Needs Who the Worst. So yeah, if you are going through a divorce, or want to know what you're about to get into if you get a messy divorce, this is a pretty good outline. Just really, I think I talked about it. Yeah, the lead singer has a really surprisingly strong voice. I thought it was better live than it is in the album. And then really lyrically, really strong. That's been a huge thing for me, just in terms of what I like. Really like lyrics. And then this guy, I described it as poetic punk at one point in my life. It's just really raw. It's just really, I don't know, if you want to just get an album full of feeling, but also has like some punk, a lot of punk sides to it as well. Also has a little bit, like the drumming is really strong. Sometimes it gives me like industrial vibes, the way that they drum on a couple tracks, but just a really great album in general. Came out in the year 2000, only 9 songs, 32 minutes, so not a lot of time that you have to invest. But yeah, if you just want to, you could even just read the lyrics if the music's a little too, I won't call it heavy, because it kind of goes in between kind of a quiet, loud thing. And I don't think there's any real, that I can think of, like hugely punk songs. It's just kind of back and forth. You know what? Maybe they are emo. I don't know. All right, moving on to, but impressive live. So if you ever get a chance to see them live, I'd highly recommend it. Number 88, Red House Painters is the band. I think it's mostly one guy. The album apparently is called Red House Painters as well, and then it has a 1 next to it because I think this guy, he's just a jerk, kind of a dick. I've heard some really funny stories about him, But yeah, I think they actually have 2 self-titled albums, so this is the first one. I didn't look to see if this is their debut album. I'm not sure. Oh, to go back on Cursive, seems like they're one of the last bands still making concept albums. So this one's about divorce. They have another one that's like in the theme of Pinocchio, if I'm not mistaken, called Art is Hard. That's really good. They did another one about Dorothy from the Yellow Brick Road, whatever that stuff is. So, yeah, interesting band that really kind of, still talking about Cursive, apologies, I'm going back. But just a really interesting band that kind of, they could go the easy route and just do, punk songs, but they're a thinking man's punk band. So anyway, back to Red House Painters. This guy's a dick. This song that I chose is called Katie's Song. And then the best thing you could do for this, the activity, would be riding a carousel in slow motion. This whole album, I think there might be one song that's a little, doesn't match the others, where it gets a little heavy, but for the most part, it's just like strumming, singer-songwriter. Sounds like it's one guy. There might be some drumming or something in there, but not complicated music by any means. It would probably be referred to as sad bastard music if Jack Black were with us. The lead singer, Mark Kozelik, he also did, if I could think of it, he has another band that he did. Definitely something I should have looked up first. Not all that important, but he's been making music for a long time. Really good voice, just a really soothing voice. Might even call it beautiful. He did, just to tell you what kind of jerk he is, same song twice in this album. So one is a piano version, and one is, I guess, just a regular version. But really pretty music. You can put it on in the background and just kind of do your thing. Great for late night or early morning. Just really, Things Mean a Lot is a really pretty song. They're all just really pretty songs. Kind of sad, kind of pretty. Apparently that's my jam. Mistress is on here twice. Just really a great one to check out if you like that kind of thing. So check out Katie's Song. It's one of the longer songs. I think it's 8 minutes. So you'll kind of know where it's at the halfway mark. But just a really, I don't know, there's no weaknesses on the album. You just put it on and whatever you want to paint your nails, whatever you want to do. Number 87 is, the band is Murder City Devils, album, another self-titled one, Murder City Devils. And this one was tough. I really struggled trying to pick a favorite song on this. I went with Get Off the Floor. And honestly, I could have there's how many songs? There's 10 songs. I probably could have chose all 10 at one point. These are quick hitters. So, album came out in 1997. I don't think I talked about what year Red House Painters came out. Red House Painters came out in 1993. 14 songs, hour and 15 minutes. It's lengthy. But back to the Murder City Devils. Apparently, this is how I'm going to do. 2 out of 3 of these I've had to go back on. So 10 songs, 22 minutes and 20 seconds. So, not much is over 2 minutes on these. Most of them are very quick. I've used a few of these, I think, on Sophie videos as well. Boom Swagger Boom is just a killer song. My activity for this is getting in a fight in the 50s. It definitely has that movie Grease, so has biker gang vibes to it. Really strong biker gang vibes. But he's got, I think they even dress kind of in the 50s style, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. Saw this band live, and a fun fact, this is the first band I ever saw live intentionally. So my dad took me to see New Kids on the Block against my will when I was younger. Zach and Mike both were in love with them, had the shirts, the shoestrings. It was a whole deal. I was ahead of my time. I couldn't stand it. So I remember I wore a wrestling shirt in protest. So, I wasn't completely mature at that time, but I knew that I did not care for that band. So, anyway, but this is the first band I saw. I actually did not know who they were. They were opening for the band that I went there to see was at the drive-in, who had a huge reputation for their great live shows and, just their energy. Two brothers, I think, with afros. And they put on a great show, but this band came on and I went there. I think I still I did. I bought my At the Drive-In hoodie, which I don't know if I still have it, but I wore it all through college and after college. It was a staple. Yeah, I probably should have gotten a Murder City Devils shirt at the time. Because this band, it blew me away. I was just like, oh, okay. Well, like, these guys are... It was one of those, I think I was initially standing outside waiting to hear, being cool. I think I went... You know what? I went with my friend Matt Tucker. We both kind of liked At the Drive-In. He liked the one that was on the One Arm Scissor song that was on the radio, and I liked the whole album. But I went in there, and I think, my friend Lars was at this show, and that might have been it. But I remember I hadn't seen Lars in a while, so I was excited to see him. But this was, and Lars, we'll get to him later because his band is going to make an appearance at some point. So the band itself, I guess I would describe them as like a weird 50. They're very soulful. They've got some wisdom in their songs. So what did I choose? Get Off the Floor. So like I think most of the lyrics to Get Off the Floor are, if you're not going to dance, get your ass off the floor. So, which, words to live by. Just a really like style 50s. I don't know. I keep going back to the 50s, but that's what I picture. Boom Swagger Boom is just an amazing, kind of a sexy song. They've got some sexiness to them. Just a little, that 50s swagger. This is maybe a swagger over sexiness. But they kind of know what they do really well. So like the songs don't differentiate all that much. I will say, I think maybe every single song on this album is on my workout playlist. And they've got a couple other albums as well that are all heavily featured on my workout playlist because they're generally up-tempo and there's a little bit of anger in them. So great for working out. The songs, they never get too dark. It's not too angry. For instance, Get Off the Floor is basically like a great mosh pit song. They're kind of fun. Occasionally they get raw. His voice is kind of raw, but like Tell You Brother, like there's some real feeling behind these two. So just like almost like a fun throwback band. But I mean, no weaknesses. And I think I was at their retirement tour or whatever it was, their farewell tour, but awesome band. Deserves a lot more love. Yeah, not a ton of play. They're in the 100,000s on all these songs. And Boom Swagger Boom has almost 2 million plays. But deserves to be featured a lot more. And I think, if anyone remembers, their song Idle Hands was featured in a movie called, I'm going to say Freddy Got Fingered. I might be wrong, but I remember Jessica Alba was in it. And anyway. Moving on, number 86, the band is Primal Scream. The album is called Exterminator without any vowels. So it's XTRMNTR. And my favorite song on the album, it's hard to choose on this one. I went with Kill All Hippies, which is the first track. The album is just wild. So my activity for this one was fighting a futuristic war versus Nazi alien insects. It sounds like a lot, and this album is a lot. Somehow the last track, I'm 5 years out of my time, only 66,000 plays, which seems, you know what? It's a really good song. It's probably because, I mean, this album will just obliterate you. It is, it's a lot. I've had the track 3 Exterminator on here initially as my favorite song. And it's just heavy. So like the band itself has, I guess you could call them maybe even a concept album band in a way. Not a concept, but like they changed their sound. So their first one was Screamadelica, pretty huge in the UK. I almost put that one on here instead, but and I probably, I don't want to say I should have, but I don't know. It just depends. This was my first real introduction to the band. This came out in the year 2000, 12 songs, a little over an hour. It is an aggressive album. This is, I mean, it's the first song, Kill All Hippies, like you've I think that's a pretty good intro. It's just it's super aggressive. Occasionally some moments that are pretty, or at least sound pretty, like Keep Your Dreams sounds like a really pretty song. I think it's about STDs or something. I don't know. It's wild. It's definitely what I would call like a fusion album. So it combines a lot of electronic music. Some jazz is thrown in there, just a lot of like intense jazz and punk. Feels like there's some noise in there. This is another one where they repeat the same song. So to give you an idea, they have 2 mixes of the song Swastika Eyes. So they are not pro-Nazis, just so you know. But I think they're very much against it. But it's just, I don't even know who I would recommend this album to. If you like punk or just, it's honestly, some of it's just hard to listen to at times. Not completely, but it just, some of the songs, they will just annihilate you. They'll just kind of punish you and beat you to death. But there's some really pretty songs. I think the song Pills has the F-bomb thrown in there at the end where he just repeats it over and over. I'm going to say 20 times. It's just it's an interesting album. Interesting artwork. This was just like, it's definitely, I would say, an angry album, which is weird because their first album was kind of hippie-ish. Screamadelica was all like, yeah, I would say Screamadelica probably describes it pretty well. It was a very relaxed, like, I don't know, look at your hand, it's like an LSD album. This is, maybe all their albums are different drugs. This one would be, I don't know, fentanyl, whatever the Tide Pods are. Like it's an aggressive album, but it's a really good one. So it's not one that you're just going to throw on if you're having a nice drive with grandma, but if you want to just listen to something that's really complex and interesting, I'd highly suggest this one. Let's move on to number 85. The artist is Bjork. The album is homogenic, probably. Could be homogenic, but I'm going to say homogenic. My favorite song, this is another one where I'm like, how do you pick a favorite song on this album? I think it's changed. I know it used to be probably Alarm Call for a while. I went with 5 Years. It's a really powerful song. I think this also might be a divorce album. Pam, don't get worried. But I think this was her breaking up with, because looking at it a little closer, I'm like, a lot of these songs, one's called Immature, or Immature? No, Immature. And it's just her really kind of looking, I think, at her relationship and moving on from it. I describe this one as definitely not for everyone as far as the activity is concerned. I described it as Jean Grey becoming Phoenix, or Dark Phoenix, or whatever her name is. But Jean Grey, she's an X-Men character. This is Bjork. If you know anything about her, like, she's one of the best singers of all time. I think she has access to all, is it 8 octaves? I don't know. But, I mean, her voice is incredible. She can kind of just do whatever she wants. This is her amped up. So I would say every song is super powerful. There's definitely some electronic vibes in here. I think it's Alarm Call, is that one will wake you up. All Is Full of Love, really popular song. The Topics, if I didn't mention it, came out in 1997, 10 songs, 43 minutes. All the songs are pretty consistent. Definitely no bad songs. So there's 10 tracks. You'll see why it was so difficult to pick a favorite. Just really pretty, really delicate. If you know anything about Bjork, it's gonna go all over the map. So there's really like broad strokes, and then there's really like vulnerable moments. Just a really, I'll call it an intense album. One thing about this, my friend, I remember this is how I think this is the one that I met my friend Dane, who I haven't talked to in a long time, but met him in college. He went on to become super successful Google guy, but I was still writing, because you don't know, a lot of imagery on this album too. So, but I was writing. So in high school, I don't know if you guys did this, but I know I did. So like I would write, if you're bored or doodling, you're listening, you're just kind of writing down things. Some people draw flowers. I was writing band names on all my folders and stuff. And so this was me, a freshman in college. And like, I remember I got to the class, probably the first one there, because I went to a school in Tallahassee. And my first year I lived in Crawfordville, because I didn't really have any money to rent a place, so I saved up money while I was working. But not sure why I mentioned that, but I did. So anyway, so I left. I know why I mentioned it. So I left really early because I didn't want to be late for class and risk traffic and all that. So I remember I think I was like probably the first person in class, sat down, and I think I was just waiting. And so like I had my new folders, and also like probably my first day at college. You just don't really know what you're getting into. So I had my folders, and I'm just like doodling band names, kind of like a sad, like, look at me, maybe we have something in common, and it worked. So my friend Dane, I think he was in that class, and I think he saw Bjork written on there, and he's like, oh, you like Bjork, like, not everyone's running around advertising that they like Bjork, so I think that appealed to him. And then he introduced me to some really good ones. Talib Kweli, I think, was one. He's a hip hop artist who did not make the cut. I think it's because he's not on Spotify, and I just don't listen to him as much anymore. But super talented rapper. Anyway, so this one, if you need something that's completely different, be a great album to listen to underwater. Just really strong. Nothing wrong with any of the tracks. But that's enough of me saying how strong it is. Let's move on. Number 84. Artist is Julian Baker. Album is called Sprained Ankle. My favorite track is called Something, and that is the title. I'm just not, fishing for words. This one was easy to choose. So my activity for this would be walking train tracks after a breakup. So in theory, abandoned train tracks, just to add to the melodrama. But this album came out 2015. It's 9 songs. It's 33 minutes. It is so strong. This was when, so I go through, I think I mentioned it before, I've gone through different phases in life in terms of music. And this is one where I was really into, I still am, but I really started discovering a lot of female musicians. And this is her debut album. I had obviously never heard of her, but it was one, as soon as I heard I think the lead single, I'm going to have to put that in bunny quotes, was Sprained Ankle, so title track. And I was drawn in immediately. Her voice is it's just really beautiful, really, really powerful. So she has a little bit, I noticed it's either this album or her next album, which is also just as good, where she has a little bit of like a Bright Eyes thing, where she starts off really kind of slow, and then by the end of the song, in Bright Eyes' case, he's like yelling. She's not so much yelling, but her singing becomes that much more powerful. So, but her voice is just so amazing. I think she's a little tiny thing as well. The songs are all really personal. Anyone that likes, I don't know, there's 9 songs. You could literally pick any song and you love it. The only one, I think Rejoice is the one that I'd probably, it starts off really good, but then I think at the end she just keeps saying Rejoice over and over, and it gets a little annoying. But if you are a female and you need to, if you're in your feels, your man or your woman has left you, and or you left them, and you just gotta like get it out, this is an amazing one. So also good for running. So I have a lot of these on my workout mix. Sprained Ankle, ironically, is on my workout mix, just because of the power of her voice. It's really soulful, and she ended up doing, you know what, I said I wasn't gonna do my likes, and I think I'm saying a million times, but deal with it. I almost said it. I said instead. I wanted to say it again just now. So anyway, really, really strong album, and the follow-up to this is almost as good. But as far as debut albums go, just hard to beat. Let's move on to number 83. This is an oldie. Oh, I think I mentioned that. Came out in 2015, so one of the newer albums that you'll see on this list. So, number 83, 9 Inch Nails, probably needs no introduction. Album is Pretty Hate Machine, and the song that I picked, this is another one where it's really tough. They're all great. I picked Something I Can Never Have. Probably not totally representative, I think I used that correctly, of the album as a whole. It came out in 1989, 10 songs, 48 minutes. But just one that really kind of sticks with you. And I'm I was more punkish in my earlier days. Now I tend to listen to the softer songs unless I'm working out. So Something I Can Never Have is one you can kind of listen to anywhere. But this whole, The Activity. Apologies, I got ahead of myself. You could just say the movie The Crow, but the first one, haven't seen the remake, don't plan on it. Getting Revenge While It's Raining Outside. This is just it's a dark album. 9 Inch Nails, I feel like they got sexier later on in the next album. This one, I don't feel like it's as it's one of those, if you kind of have to know it or listen to it to understand, but like it's just a sexy band. Kind of a weird sexiness to them. Not sure why I keep pushing the sexiness, but anywho, I saw this band live. I think it's either St. Pete or Tampa at the outdoor amphitheater. Fortunately, I was far away, and so I mainly just watched them on screen, but amazing job. Just amazing live band. So much energy. The guy, Trent Reznor, is like the soundtrack king these days. I can't think of anything he did off the top of my head, but really talented guy. Seems like he did a ton of the work he might have done this one all by himself. I know he's just one of those, you might even call him a genius, I would say at this point. Incredibly gifted, electronically, and singing, and then producing on the piano. He might even have his own label at this point. I don't remember, but just an interesting guy. Also, one of those amazing workout, if I hadn't said it already, but this one goes on 9 Inch Nails. You'll see a lot of 9 Inch Nails on my workout mixes. Really macho, but really vulnerable at the same time. So album is incredibly raw. This kind of started, or at least popularized, the industrial sound. So if you want something, Head Like a Hole was the big one. So 71 million. You know what? I never went and told you how popular old Julian are. You know what? I'm actually curious. Primal Scream. I didn't say any of these. Primal Scream, maybe I did. They're in the 100,000s for the most part. Bjork, hopefully is more popular than that. Yes, she is from Iceland, and they vote. They're voters over there. So she's got a lot. Everything's in like 5 millions, and then some the teens, and even one at 30 million. Julian Baker, surprisingly, I think this must have been after her, she joined like a super group. So everything's kind of in the millions and a couple in the tens. And 9 Inch Nails, yes. Head Like a Hole is at 71 million plays. So huge song. Came out in 89. So not a 90s song, but definitely feels 90s-ish. but a huge band. One of the biggest, I'd say probably top 5, top 10 bands of the 90s. And I think they had a weird start where they were like a, whatever it was. I don't know. Is this interesting when I just think my thoughts? Almost like not a disco band, but like an 80s electro pop or something. But yeah, not too much I can really add to this. Just if you haven't heard it, it's a must listen. Down in It, Terrible Lies, Sanctified. These are all just classics. Kinda I Want To. I mean, if you haven't listened to it, by all means, please run and listen to it. Number 82. This is a good one, as they all are. So artist is Outkast. Needs no intro. Album Stank On Ya. I really struggled going between this and Aquemini. I think I actually had Aquemini first. And then I thought this one just had some stronger songs on it. This one was a little more commercial, which usually doesn't work for me, but the songs are so good. I chose Bombs Over Baghdad for favorite song. Little tidbit, I was in a kickball league and named our team Balls Over Baghdad. So, yeah, do with that what you will. Or reuse it, bring it back. Some of these, the intros, this is the one, sorry, not the intros, the literal interval tracks. This is one where the album came out in 2000. Apparently it's a popular year for me. 24 songs, which aren't really songs. There's so many, if you're listening, rappers, quit it with the skits and sketches. There's a couple funny ones, I think, but it's just, for me, it messes up the flow of the album. So I'm sure they say it adds to the flow, but for me, it's annoying. This one, I was kind of struggling with deciding, so I'm just going to list 2 activities for this. One is a trying on clothes montage. So Fresh, So Clean, Miss Jackson, I'll Call Before I Come. There's so many. We Love These Hoes would be a fun one to get dressed to. Gangsta Shit would be a great one. That one I know is on my workout list. Or also just Riding in a Cadillac, kind of a reference to their first album, AT Aliens, 2 Dope Boys in a Cadillac. But I mean, this whole album just spits fire, right? Gasoline Dreams is an amazing track. I think I've definitely switched on what's my favorite, but every track, Red Velvet, I think stood out to me initially. I don't know. They're all good. I grew up in the South, so I grew up in Tallahassee area, Crawfordville. Outkast was, everyone listened to it. It was that, and unfortunately, No Limit Records was a thing, but Outkast was it. I don't think I ever saw them live, unfortunately. But yeah, if you were in the South and you liked good hip-hop music, this one was at the very top. Lyrically, dense. My goodness. So these guys, I would say, some of the best storytellers I've ever heard. Every song really tells a story. Just natural storytellers. And just super gifted. The music is interesting. So B.O.B. is kind of came out of left field. A lot of funk, a lot of, I don't know, just the whole thing is kind of a vibe. I think Aquemini has definitely a feel to it. This one, I feel like jumps around a little bit, but a lot of it's really fast-paced. Miss Jackson apparently it's at the billion mark as far as plays are concerned, so I think that was probably that one and So Fresh, So Clean. But Miss Jackson became, you couldn't escape that song when it was out. If you were alive during that time and could talk, you probably knew the lyrics of that song. No downsides to this except for the little intervals. I just personally can't stand them. This one and Aquemini, both of them are just, you can't lose. So one of my favorite hip-hop artists, I would say this and Black Star as far as groups go. Shame that they broke up, both of them, but probably the best hip-hop group of all time. They kind of went their separate ways, obviously, and I don't know, they both had success after this as well, but a shame they didn't stick together. And the last one of the day, number 81, The band is Animal Collective. Album is Strawberry Jam, and the song is For Reverend Green. Activity, I'm going to see if I can actually be organized on this one, is waking up as a monkey in the jungle and exploring all your newfound abilities. So jumping, if you listen to really any song on this album, you'll understand. Came out in 2007, 9 songs, 43 minutes, and it's just pure energy. It's just like a childlike energy. Most of them at 1 million plays. So Fireworks apparently the most popular, 12 million. But I went with Forever and Green. Definitely have some workout things on this. But the energy, this is like Cuckoo. Actually, that's one of the songs. Cuckoo, Cuckoo. This is like Daffy Duck bouncing off the walls energy. This is also a band that's on my list of, I wish I could have seen them live because I'm sure it was amazing. I think either they wore like animal heads or they dressed like animals. There was something going on there. The energy is just out of control for these guys. They're also a little weird. So it's just weird. They all have like Panda Bear, I think, came out of this. All the members, I think, went on to do solo albums. Panda Bear is much different than this. It's kind of like sad, somewhat electronic, if I remember. He's just kind of like echoing into the abyss. But this one, like every song is just, Fireworks is a great one. Forever and Green, obviously a great one. Peacebone kicks it off. There's a song called Derek, number 1. It's just an album that is, if you need you have to be able to tolerate it, but like maybe kids, you know what? This would be a great album for kids if they're in a bounce house. Oh my gosh, put this one on and like give them some sugar water and just watch the explosions. So definitely not I would say an evening album if you're trying to wind down. This is more of a, I don't know, driving to the beach, or let me just like, I don't know, if you couldn't sleep, this would be a great album to put on because there's no chance you fall asleep. These guys are bouncing around. They play all kinds of instruments. Honestly, just listen to any song and you'll understand what I mean. But just a ton of energy, kind of like a primal feel to it. Just a really fun album. And they've got at least 5 or 6 albums. This one I think has the tightest, the quality is the best among all the tracks. Whereas some of the others might have some higher highs, but it just gets super weird at times. So, yeah, I think that's a good place to stop. So that was albums 90 through 81. Next one will be, 80 through 71. So thank you for listening or not listening. Thank you for playing it. Hope you guys are enjoying it. If you like anything, please feel free to leave feedback on, I guess, Instagram or Spotify, because I don't know how much fun this is, but for me it's almost therapeutic. I'm just kind of getting these things out and putting it on record so that everyone knows how elite my music taste is. So with that said, I'm going to wrap it up. Have a great day.